Hello and welcome to Xcess4x4. Today we're going to be building an Ashlocker. Here's the Ashlocker in bits, brand new, except this is going to be an Ashlocker with a difference. The first thing is we're going to show you our new TabLock system. This is designed to add more reliability to the Ashlocker. We'll explain how it works later on in the build video when we actually start building the centre into a differential. But this has been approved by Dave at Ashcroft Transmissions, who thinks it's a great idea and has allowed us to do it. Thank you very much, Dave. But there's also another thing that we're doing today, and that is things called thrust washers. Now on the back here, what you basically have here is a thrust washer, that fits on there, and then you have a gear. Gear goes on there. Now what can happen is when you're really enjoying yourself and giving it large amounts of right foot, this is spinning at an incredible speed, and the pressure on this gear, this is the drive gear for the drive shaft, the pressure on this gear is absolutely immense, and it will squeeze the oil out between the gear, the thrust and the back plate. And once that oil has been squeezed out and this carries on running, it gets hot, and when it gets really hot it will burn your oil off, and what will happen is damage. Here's one that someone damaged for us earlier. Here you can see where it's picked up quite severely on here. This damaged not only the thrust, but it also damaged the gear, rendering this a piece of scrap and a nice big bill for the customer. And we've been looking at this for some time, and it's really curious because the problem you've got is getting the oil in here and keeping it in here. In the 1950s, engineers had more control over products than they do now. Engineers are told to design something, and then people work out how to do it cheaper and save a few quid, or pence even. And back in the 1950s, we had a differ part, and it had this inside it. And this is a high flow washer. The idea behind it is really simple. The oil on here can travel through these holes and reach the other side. Equally, when this is spinning at really high speed, the oil that's trapped in here will keep on lubricating way past the point that this is starting to seize up. So we looked at this very carefully and we thought that's a really good idea. So welcome to 2018, and we've made a high flow washer. This will fit Ashcroft Ashlockers, Ashcroft 4 pins. It will also fit Land Rover P38 4 pins, all sorts of diffs we've made these for, because we think it's a great idea and it's not very expensive when you think of the amount of protection it's adding. So this now will go, instead of this washer, we'll have one of these on here. I'm going to show you now how it works. Okay, welcome back. Now as you can see here, what I've done is I put a little bit of green oil. This is actually LSD oil, but I've made it green because it would be slightly easier to see on the video. And what I'm going to do is show you how this works, which will be pretty much the same for any diff out there, not just Land Rover. So your shim goes on top of there, and your gear goes on there. And I'm going to rotate this once. One rotation. Okay, now obviously there is no oil on this side whatsoever because it can't get through, but if you look on the other side, it hasn't actually really moved very far. It's only on about a quarter of that thrust having rotated round, and that's partly because these aren't always ground flat, sometimes they're a little bit bowed, but also because it's not designed to move the oil round. So I'm just going to clean this off and have another go. Okay, back in the room, and here we have our Ashlocker stroke locking end flange of any diff. Here we have our high flow washer. A little bit of oil, pop that on, and already you can see the oil is coming through the little holes. Now what I'm going to do is put the gear back on as before, and I'm going to give it one rotation. Wonderful. You can actually see that the oil has gone all the way round. The thrust has actually stuck itself to the gear, and this obviously shows you the superior lubrication. That's just one revolution, so it's completely oiled the entire surface instead of a quarter of the surface. So we're going to build this Ashlocker with a pair of these in here. We're going to go a little bit further. Planet gear thrust. Same problem. These even spin faster. So this is sitting on there with a little bit of oil. And these will chew themselves into the back of the casings. They'll chew in the back of the gears. They are renowned for failing in all diffs. We've done it with those as well. So this will go on the back of there. Again, if I put a little bit of oil on there, there's the oil. I'm going to put that over there. And as I turn it, the oil is staying there. The oil doesn't disappear just because I'm turning it. So the oil is now lubricating the back of this gear. And already the gear has the thrust stuck to it. And you can see there, it's gone right round the gear, right round there. So we'll be building this Ashlocker with 2 of them and 4 of them and a TabLock system, and then we'll show you it when it's built, and then we'll do a second video building it into the actual casing and demonstrating how the TabLocker system works. Thanks for watching. Suppose we better get building.